All right. Traffic-wise, kind of sloppy out there this morning. Colonial Drive near Farrow Road, there's an accident there. Also, Kittiwake Drive at St. David's Church Road. And on I-26 eastbound before Broad River Road, the right lane is currently blocked, and there are malfunctioning traffic lights kind of in a few places throughout the Midlands. So just kind of take it a little extra slow. We are expecting continued thunderstorms potentially for at least off and on really throughout the day. So going to see standing water. And again, just kind of keep an eye out that there could be traffic lights that are just kind of messing up out there. Otherwise, we're looking for, again, those scattered thunderstorms and looking for a high today of about 86, 85 tomorrow. But clears out for Saturday, 79 for the high.
Yeah, 300 is kind of the old-fashioned number of, hey, when a guy hits 300, you know he's a good hitter. And I still place value on that because it is hard to get hits, you know. And we've gone back and forth in the Moneyball era of batting average means nothing. It's all about on-base percentage. And then you have OPS. Then you have OPS plus. And there's a million different NASA stats that they have out there. But I still think there is some value to just the 300 hitter because the ability to get hits is hard. And when you face teams that throw strikes, on-base percentage tends to go down because you don't walk as much. So the ability to get hits can be important. So all that is to say that it's nice having 300 hitters, you know, throughout our lineup. But on-base percentage still is important. Slugging percentage is still important. It's all still important. Batting average with runners in scoring position. Getting runners in with a runner at third and less than 2 outs is important. What are your left-right splits? Those are important. All those things are important. And at the end of the day, you want to have 9 guys that feel like they all complement each other. We've gone to the right, left, which I think has really helped us. And so all those factors matter.
That was Mark Kingston yesterday. Stats matter in baseball, and well, I got to sit down for a second after all of that.
The old right, left. That's what I was thinking, Coach. Same strategy I was going to employ. The beautiful thing about analytics is that either you sound like a genius or you can sound like you have no idea what you're talking about.
You just mumble jumble.
Just a lot of mumbo jumble. Just right, left, OPS plus, OPS minus, right, left, hitting splits, percentages. Oh, man. But fortunately, Coach Kingston does know what he's talking about. So, and after all of that, what'd he say? You know, the 300 batting average is pretty good standard.
Still pretty good.
Yeah, it still works. Not bad. It still works. Just the old-fashioned 300 batting average.
South Carolina will run to the plate this weekend with 3 guys batting over 300. Cole Messina currently hitting .316 on the season with 54 hits and 171 at-bats. Blake Jackson, another guy who has come on of late and been part of this power surge, batting .307 this season. And Ethan Petrie, despite a poor night the other night in his full 47-game season, Petrie right now batting .304 on the season, and that's just barely followed up by Kennedy Jones, who's batting .293 on the year and has been really good as well. So those bats early on in the season, a lot of people questioned them. A lot of people didn't think that they were necessarily performing at a high rate, but they have come on. And I'll give you one more who's batting right on 300 is the appearance of Austin Brinling in center field, who has now started 10 games. He has 12 hits and 40 bats for the season, and again is batting .300. That's another guy right there that has been very solid.
Yeah, and there's really a very small statistical difference between 293 and 300, but just seeing that 3,
yeah,
like, ooh, this guy, he's on it. So, I mean, Kennedy Jones is literally one game away, about essentially a good game away from getting back up to 300, and he just coming off of a 1-for-13 slump that he was just bust out of in the midweek. So having a lot of guys right there that you know are consistently placing the bat on the ball, putting pressure on the defense, is always good for a team.
Georgia has won 5 in a row. That includes a 3-game sweep of Vanderbilt last weekend. They're going to face a Golden Spikes Award favorite and Charlie Condon, who leads the Bulldogs. Now, we just talked about 300 batters, right? Charlie Condon will enter this game with batting .459 on the season with 33 home runs and 69 RBIs. The Bulldogs, by the way, as a team, are batting .306 and have a SEC best 122 home runs.
Say that batting average again.
.306 as a team.
Check the stats. We need to check the books on this. They're cooking the books. There's no way this man's batting .450. Did they say he's batting?
.459 for Golden Spikes Award favorite Charlie Condon with 33 home runs.
Well, I did some research. He is solidly in the top 10 of all-time home run single season folks, and it led me down a path of 90s baseball players that I remember very well.
Oh.
I just remember these guys. Do you remember Troy Glaus?
Los Angeles Angels. Yeah, that was a four. Not a. Yeah, that was a. Was it? I think it was Los Angeles Angels. He played, not Anaheim. I know he was an Angel, but it was
correct. So he hit 34 home runs in a season. That was 1997. Do you remember Lance Berkman?
Yes, but I feel like we're playing a little game. I want to say maybe Texas Ranger.
Astros.
Okay, all right. I was in the right state.
He hit 41 home runs in 1997, and then the number one all-time leading home run hitter in a single season, one of my favorite players, who I didn't even know from college. I just remember him from the pros. Pete Incaviglia.
Okay, now you get me. All right, let's play a game real quick. What college?
Ooh,
is this?
It's going to be a tough one.
Okay, all right.
No, Oklahoma State.
Oh, okay, all right.
That's going to be a tough one. So Pete in 1985 hit 48 home runs.
Wow.
In 75. It was a different era. They had different bats. I would like to note that. But yeah, Pete hit 48. So Charlie's a long way from 48. However, Pete played in 75 games. Charlie's in 47 games. So I mean, he's having. Let's say this: you don't need advanced statistics or right-left splits to know that this dude hits the ball very well.
And I heard you ask Jamie Bradford on Monday, I believe, just was taking the kids to school and I agreed with Charlie Condon is a situational batter this weekend. If the bases are empty and you're up 2 runs, I think you pitch to him. If there's a guy on base and they're within 2 runs, you don't intentionally walk him. You don't just go up there and say, go to first base, young man. But you nibble the strike zone at best, and you do not go at him full bore. This is a guy who can absolutely change the momentum and the dynamics of a game right now with one swing.
Well, that's what makes that, when you mentioned that the other guys around him are hitting so well, that's what makes them so important, because they can protect them in the lineup. And if they are getting on base, then they put you in situations where you have to throw strikes to Charlie. So it's a difficult situation. The more strikes you throw, the more guys you keep off the base paths, the more flexibility you're going to have with this guy.
And Mark Kingston was asked yesterday about how you pitch to Charlie Condon. This is a very short answer, so you get the feeling Kingston already had an idea. Here's Mark Kingston on pitching to Charlie Condon this weekend.
You throw the ball to the backstop and make sure he doesn't steal second base. How about that?
I appreciate your honesty, Coach.
See, yeah, like I said, very situational this weekend with how you approach him. The key here is to not allow the guys in front of him on base for him to have a swing that turns the dynamics of the game. And we'll continue talking about this, get you some more Mark Kingston audio as we roll along this morning. 803-404-6100. That's how you can wait. And if you want to do so, you're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner. She's Jen Jensen. It's the early game. Bill Gunner for AAA Heating and Air. It got into the 90s yesterday. It's going to be kind of warm again today, and then we drop back off a little bit. But those dog days of summer, those incredibly hot, 100% humidity days of summer are on the way, and you need to be prepared now. With AAA Heating and Air, you can beat the seasons by getting a system upgrade. And right now, you can get a free replacement estimate today. That's right. Call AAA Heating and Air. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you, 803-677-1500. You can get a free replacement estimate. And then right now, AAA Heating and Air will offer you for the rest of 2024 100% financing with 12 months, no payments or no interest. You won't pay a penny until 2025. So give AAA Heating and Air a call, 803-677-1500. Make sure you mention that you heard it here on 107.5 The Game with Bill Gunner. That's AAA Heating and Air.
Taking a look at those traffic conditions out there this morning, and it's going to be kind of a sloppy day today for sure. Colonial Drive near Faro Road, an accident there. Also Kittiwake at St. David's Church Road. I-26 eastbound before Broad River Road, an accident there. The right lane is blocked. So at I-26 eastbound That would be I-26 eastbound before exit 97. The right lane is blocked, so you need to stay left. Also, just got a report that if you're coming out of Sumter on Highway 378 heading towards Columbia, that is currently closed, and they are turning people around. Don't know why or what's going on, but just kind of plan for that in your day. We're looking for thunderstorms off and on throughout the day, a high of 86. So do be careful. It's 66 with some rain right now.
.35 as we get you up and get you going here on a stormy Thursday morning here in the Midlands. If you're down in Florence, hope you're doing well. If you're in Myrtle Beach, hope you're doing well. But up here, it's been questionable. So let's get through the day and get us to a Friday where, again, we will really kick things off on a sporting weekend there. We were just talking a little bit about South Carolina and Georgia. Obviously, big series over at Founders Park. We'll continue to talk about that throughout the morning. Again, 7:45 first pitch, or excuse me, 7:45 pregame, 8 o'clock first pitch tonight for the Gamecocks and the Bulldogs over at Founders Park. And again, you can hear that all right here on 107.5 The Game here in Columbia, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. Got the Bassmasters, Bassmasters kicking off here. I guess they're kicking off. We should have sent a live reporter over there. Where's Elijah when you need him? We sent him to Cleveland. We sent him to Nashville. We should have sent him everywhere. We should have sent him over to Dreer Island State Park, where as I checked the Bassmaster website, Preston, still says takeoffs at 7 a.m. this morning. So unless somebody's got it, if you got an update, if you're out there, you can be our official reporter on the scene.
Yeah, I'm really checking through my fuzzy memory because I do not purport to be a fisherman. Angler.
I
don't purport to be an angler, but I do believe that the rain makes the fish sort of come alive.
Yeah, I think so.
I do believe it's a good thing.
It
right?
perks them up.
So everybody's awake. Everybody's aware. So this might be some big numbers from the Bassmasters this weekend.
So we'll keep you updated. Weigh-ins at 3 p.m.
That's very low. I'm not an angler. I just hear things. I've sat around enough old men to know that maybe this is the time you want to get out there.
Get out there. Get out there. You know, if you're listening this morning, you got about an hour free time, go challenge them. They love it when you do that, when you just pull up on your boat and you started offering advice. Hey, flip it right over there. Flip it right over there. 803-404-6100. Weigh-ins, by the way, if you're interested in checking that out. Drew Island State Park today, 3 o'clock. You can get out there and check that out. That tournament, by the way, Thursday, Friday, and wraps up on Saturday, which will lead you into Darlington on a Sunday. You've got something you wanted to weigh in here on Andy Staples' ceiling floor segment.
Well, he did a classic sporty sport.
I love
classic sporty sport segment yesterday where he was breaking down win totals for the teams, and he said the South Carolina ceiling, the South Carolina floor. And he had those two numbers. And basically, they were contingent on one thing. It was contingent on one thing. Something we've already said. Foreshadow, he went 9 of 11 in the spring game. He's been recently named the starting quarterback.
Okay.
Everything that Andy Staples and Cruz said was essentially based on how well does Lenora Sellers play. So the ceiling that Andy Staples has, what would you rather have? The ceiling or the floor first? What would you prefer?
I think the ceiling.
All right,
let's start with the good.
Start with the good.
I always feel good, and then I'll debate if I want to feel bad.
The ceiling in their mind is 8-4. The ceiling in their mind is 8-4. This is essentially based on Andy Staples' co-host essentially saying, and you heard it here first. So if he takes our take, he said, Bill, Lenora Sellers, dark horse Heisman. It's on pay. These guys get paid a lot of more money than we do to do this. And they said, Lenora Sellers, dark horse Heisman.
So now we need to go back to our August 22nd show out at the Woodlands and cut that up and make sure that we date that, that we hold on to it, because we were the first ones on it.
I'm just telling
You were the first one. I said probably 2. We've already tried to apologize to Arch Manning for ruining his collegiate career. Okay, so dark horse Heisman, 8 wins. 8 wins. Let's go through this real quick here. Sitting here today, I've got Old Dominion. All right, that's no problem. I like South Carolina against Kentucky. I feel like quietly kind of the worm is turned on that. We're now more focused on Missouri. How can we not beat Missouri?
Correct. I'm with you on that.
Akron makes 3. Vanderbilt, Wofford, I'm at 5. That would be the ceiling. That means maybe you clip Ole Miss at home for 6. Texas A&M's got a new coach. Maybe that's 7. You do get Missouri at home. I feel like we are circling that game as this year is
big one.
Is the so okay? I can go on 8. I kind of had to stretch that one out to get there. LSU, Garrett Nussmeier, first game. A lot of changes there, but LSU's uber talented. All right, 8 seems like a very good ceiling, so I'm on board with that. That means South Carolina. Yeah, you look at that schedule, far exceeded expectation.
Well, that's the ceiling.
Okay.
The floor, 4-8.
1, 2, 3. Yeah. No, that should be the absolute. That's Old Dominion, Akron, and Wofford and Vanderbilt.
So that's the absolute.
That's the absolute
basement floor, the dirt floor.
That is that should be the absolute floor. And I'll even go as far as to say, the floor is the floor. The floor, that's the bottom. Because I might even throw at you and just say 5 wins, just because you should win one other. But I can understand where you'd go with that. I mean, South Carolina's Kentucky's not a gimme in that game, and then really there's none other that, as we sit here today, South Carolina would be favored in. So what he said is essentially what I can understand. The 4 games South Carolina should legitimately be favored in.
Well, here was the crux of the issue. Andy Staples and his coach, and I can't find his name. They said that Lenore Sellers reminded them a lot of Anthony Richardson.
Okay, it's actually a decent. I like that.
Fair comp.
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson was only 6-6 as a starter at Florida.
Oh, but he had questionable coaching.
Yeah,
we don't have that here.
I hear you, and that's 100% correct.
Anthony Richardson didn't have a Dow Loggins.
That's what's up. Yes, very true. I got it. Just being very clear. I think that's a very apt comparison, and I never really made that comparison until I was looking at this article. But obviously, Anthony Richardson, explosive arm, ran the fastest 40 time for a quarterback, a lot faster than our guy. He ended up being drafted number 4 overall. Was actually playing well in the NFL till he got hurt. That is a very nice comp. If you're Lenore Sellers and you get that comp, you're like, that feels good. However, Anthony Richardson never really won any games at Florida. He didn't really perform exceedingly well.
He played for Billy Napier, and Napier ruined his career, ruined his collegiate career.
Yeah, I hear you.
Do you?
6-6 as a starter in the SEC is what Anthony Richardson was. So it's based on the crux of, if everything goes exceedingly well,
I think that's wildly fair. Like, as we sit here on May 9th.
You lay that out.
Yes.
But that's a big variance between the floor and the ceiling, between what the team could be. And I think both of them are realistic. And a lot of it is contingent upon Lenore Sellers, because he's a freshman, because we still have questionable offensive line play, newish offensive system. There still are a lot of questions that need to be answered to try and fill in those gaps. No,
you're right. The offensive line is going to be the massive one because they have to perform. They can't be hyped up. We can't. Nobody can go anywhere and say, well, the offensive line is having a good off season. They're really performing well. They're lifting weights. Look at them. They're doing. The offensive line has to line up against Old Dominion, and I think you're going to have the running backs to produce if the offensive line can block. And so when you go to that Old Dominion game, I'm about to make a completely irrational,
we already said dark horse Heisman. Let's
reactive.
Go. Let's do it.
South Carolina has to run as a team for 175 yards against Old Dominion. And that number might be low because I'm not even factoring in quarterback rushing yards.
Well, that was a big part of Anthony Richardson's game.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. I might even bump that up. We're keeping it 175 today, but as we get into the summer and that hype the hype starts to get me. Those days on the lake start to add up, and I become a little more loopy. But I think that's also fair. I don't think that that's unfair to say against Old Dominion. The problem I have here is I haven't done my Old Dominion research.
Correct, and
that's where I need to.
And that's totally okay.
I haven't done my Old Dominion research.
Well, I found his name. His name is Cody Belair, and that's the guy. He's big on Lenora Sellers.
We'll talk a little more about this as we roll along. 6:44 on your Thursday morning. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen. It is the early game. 6:49 as we go along on your Thursday morning, but do want to tell you real quick about Mid-State Roofing, and there might not be a better morning to tell you about Mid-State Roofing. If you've got a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek, because last night with those thunderstorms, well, you want to make sure your roof has leak prevention. Trust me on that. The thunderstorms last night, the ones coming up during the summer, Mid-State Roofing needs to be there for you to provide your operation and keep it safe, running, and dry. Keyword dry there, because last night, a lot of rain. And Larry Leitner and family, well, they know exactly what they're doing. They've done this for nearly 30 years, and they've been the leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. And 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, they're ready to help you because they have an on-call technician or a Mid-State Roofing employee right there. Give them a phone call. So right now, if you're like walking around the house, like, I got a leak, this isn't good, call Mid-State Roofing right now, 803-356-1919, and let them put you in a maintenance contract that will protect that roof. Again, that's 803-356-1919. You can speak with an on-call technician or a Mid-State Roofing employee. They'll get you a maintenance contract, and you can protect that roof. We got more thunderstorms that are on the way this summer. Make sure that you have leak detection and leak prevention at your house. Call Mid-State Roofing today. Tell them you heard it with Bill Gunner. Again, that's 803-356-1919. If you've got a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek. I always like this the way I like the setup we do with the show now. I really like what we do because Preston will sometimes just put topics out there, and it's just a sentence. It's just a sentence, and I'm very intrigued to know where we're going with this. So Preston has put out transfer portal. We have a journeyman. So you go, all right.
4 exclamation points.
4 exclamation, yeah. So I'm like, oh, okay. I don't even want to research. I don't want to spoil the fun. I like to play off the cuff here. What do we got?
Well, there's 2 parts to this. We do have a journeyman. There has been an entrance in the out section of the transfer portal for Carolina football. Defensive end, Drew Tuazama. Tuazama.
Yeah, sure. Doesn't matter.
I mean, listen, that's a unique name. We need some time with the name. Drew didn't provide us a lot of time. He didn't play a lot. He came late last year. Believe he might have came in August at the end of the year last year. Maybe played in 4 games, if I got that correct. Did not make it through the spring.
Yeah.
That's a tough name. So we weren't able to get enough reps on that. So Drew T has transferred, but he is officially qualified for journeyman status. Bill, do you know how many stops this will be once he makes his next landing?
4?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Drew has, besides making a couple of stops in high school.
Okay.
Because he went from his high school to a prep school.
Oh, boy.
So before that, he went to the University of Syracuse, which he redshirted, played a year, very little playing there. Then from there, he went to old school, East Mississippi Community College. So he goes the JUCO route, which very few people do these days. From there, he goes to UAB, stays there for a brief minute. After UAB, makes a little pit stop in Columbia, checks out the scenery. Maybe he got some Bernie's chicken, checked out the sights, and now he's moving on. So that is 4 stops so far in Drew's college career.
There you go.
He's officially a journeyman.
But unfortunately, that's not unusual now. He joins a club. He joins a club, but that club is expanding quickly.
It is definitely
entrance into that club is being loosely guarded
frequent
right
flyer
now.
clubs.
Yeah.
He knows his way around several college campuses. But that's not I buried the lead. The big part in this story is, we just announced that Lenora Sellers is the starting quarterback here. But, Bill, you are aware there are quarterback battles going on all over the country. You do know this. You know that, correct?
Right, yeah. South Carolina not the only one.
Not the only one. Well, Bill, I'm here to tell you there's a quarterback battle brewing at Northwestern.
Saw this the other day.
It's brewing.
Got a good chance, too. 803-404-6100. Quickly, send in who you think he's referring to.
It's brewing.
That is likely going to be the starter. Likely right now going to be the starter? 803-404-6100. While I let you think about that real quick, we'll see if people can get it in. We have a guy on the scene, Ronnie. Ronnie has informed me that the Bassmasters today has been postponed until tomorrow.
Oh, big time.
And Ronnie, by the way, went with who he asked yesterday, who y'all got in the Bassmasters tournament. He went with Patrick Walters from Somerville.
That's my guy.
There you go.
Me and P-Dub.
There you go. Well, we'll keep you updated on that.
Patrick Walters, my guy, lifelong.
Thank you, Ronnie, for putting that out there. And yes, Texter gets it. Yes, Ryan Holinsky is still playing college football and very well could be the starter for Northwestern. Good job, Texter. Good job, Texter. Connor weighs that in. Hour 2 on the way. Bill Gunner for Love Chevrolet. You know what? It is the Springtacular sale. That's right. Not just the flowers are in bloom, but the sales are in bloom as well at Love Chevrolet, where you can get out there and check out 14 acres of brand new Chevys from which you can choose. You're guaranteed to find the car, truck, or SUV you've been looking for. So whether it's that Suburban, that Tahoe, that Silverado, or a Trailblazer, now is the time to visit Love Chevrolet and get behind the wheel. Feel the possibilities. New adventures, new roads, new destinations. You get the point. It's springtime and things are in bloom at Love Chevrolet, where, of course, they always have the $1,000 low price guarantee, which means they'll beat any competitor's price. At Love Chevrolet, they're satisfied with their customers knowing that they have helped them. That's why they want to be knowledgeable, honest, and treat you with integrity. So get out to Love Chevrolet today, and together, let's drive.
Sloppy conditions out there this morning and expected to continue off and on throughout the day. Some accidents we have. I-26 eastbound before exit 97. You're going to want to stay left because the right lane is blocked. Also, Clemson Road near I-20. Colonial Drive near Faro Road. I-20 westbound there at White Pond Road. That'd be exit 87. An accident there. Kitty Wake Drive at St. David's Church Road, an accident. Pine Street at Highway 302. And getting a report that coming out of Sumter, Highway 378 is closed. So trying to come towards Columbia out of Sumter, that is not working really well. They're turning people around. So we'll keep you updated on that. Storms off and on throughout the day today, high of 86. Maybe a stray storm tomorrow, 85 for the high.
$7 a.m., which we should be right now celebrating, fired up as anglers would be leaving the docks over at Dreher Island State Park. But now the Bassmasters, after consulting with the National Weather Service, officials have postponed day one competition of the Minn Kota Bassmaster Elite at Lake Murray due to high winds, possibility of severe weather, including strong, damaging winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. Says the forecast also includes possibility of lightning and hail as well as possible tornadoes. So no fishing today. Fish like the rain. They're kind of like tigers. They like the rain. They don't like lightning.
Yeah, I kind of like Preston, actually. But yeah, shout out to my guy Patrick Williams, Somerville representing.
Walters.
Yep, you too.
Yep.
Patrick Walters, my guy, Somerville representing, lead favorite. That means everybody else, you get an extra day to strategize because
right.
Patrick is coming for you.
Yep, scheduled.
And the fish.
Read the schedules. Yeah,
get another day. You get another day because Pat is on the warpath.
The full field will now compete tomorrow and Saturday. Okay, tomorrow and Saturday with the top 50 competing Sunday and the top 10 advancing to championship Monday. Top 10. So pretty cool. All right, so we'll keep you up.
Thorns, buds, and roses loading.
It does say Lake Murray is off limits today for the anglers. So they get a day to relax, listen to us, they hang out and go through all that. So we'll keep you updated there. But yeah, so tomorrow daily takeoff will occur at 7 a.m. out at Dreher Island State Park, and the weigh-in will be at 3 p.m. if you want to check that out. Speaking of checking things out, the Atlanta Braves went out west. Last time we left you, Preston Thorne, they were 18-6. They're now 22-12. Let's do a little chop talk right now for the Atlanta Braves.
Chop talk.
Hammered, left field, gone! Ronald Acuna, another milestone in a truly historic season.
On the early game is sponsored by Carolina Turf and Grass on the Game Network.
Thank you, as always, to Carolina Turf, Grass, and Landscape Supply, the official sponsor of Chop Talk. Yeah, I tell you what, Carolina Turf, Grass, and Landscape Supply, sodding South Carolina 1 square foot at a time. Right now is the best time to get in touch with them. Make that yard look like a beautiful baseball diamond or maybe an upcoming football field. Whether you need mulch, soil and sand, gravel, decorative rock, or natural stone, maybe just need pine, straw, or yard decor. Carolina Turf, Grass, and Landscape Supply has you taken care of. Give them a phone call today, 803-446-6525. Again, that's 803-446-6525. Let's be honest, who wants to go out and put all the mulch and soil and sand and gravel and everything that they have in your yard? Let the professionals do it. They're sodding South Carolina 1 square foot at a time. Again, that phone number, 803-446-6525, located off of Augusta Road here in Lexington, South Carolina. Carolina Turf, Grass, Landscape Supply can sod your yard and make it look spectacular. And if you mention you heard it right here with Bill Gunner and Preston Thorne in Chop Talk, you can get a mulch discount. So call Carolina Turf, Grass, and Landscape Supply, 803-446-6525. Again, the official sponsor of Chop Talk. And the Braves, as I just mentioned, Preston Thorne, they were on a gravy train with biscuit wheels last Thursday. They were taking a day off. They were 18-6. They had won 4 in a row. they'd won 3 in a row when we talked. They beat Cleveland Friday night to advance to 18-6. That was a 4-game win streak. They proceeded to drop 6 of 8 after that. They lost a game to Cleveland. They lost 2 of 3 to Seattle. They were swept by the Dodgers, 2 of those not particularly close, Saturday 11-2 and Sunday 5-1. They did bounce back last night and beat the Boston Red Sox 5-0 last night, and now 22-12. Big Bear. Do you know who Big Bear is?
That's Marsul
Ozuna.
Mm-hmm.
Big Bear passed Shohei Ohtani last night for the major league lead in home runs with 2 last night. He is now standing at 12 on the season, batting .315. Chris Sale has been fantastic. Beats his former team last night, throws 6 innings, 10 strikeouts, 1 walk. He's now second in the National League, tied with several guys, with a 5-1 record and a 2.95 ERA. Good way to bounce back. Braves will now set up a series starting tomorrow night. They get the day off. Tomorrow night, they head up to New York, where, if you were listening to one of those CBS Sports segments, New York is on fire right now. The Knicks are winning. The Rangers are winning. The Yankees are winning. Not about the Mets, not so much.
The Mets are doing the Mets thing.
Right.
They're being the Mets. They're playing their role. They're just playing their position. They're letting everybody else take the shine while they, because, baseball's a long season. So they have a lot of time. They have a lot of time to get that thing going. So I don't even know if that Mets Braves has as much vitriol as it used to.
Yeah, that's good. We'd have to ask like a Jay Phillips or something.
I'll ask Jay about
get
that.
a check into that. Braves, by the way, now after that little losing skid there, 2 games behind the Phillies in the National League East. Phillies 26-12, Braves 22-12. Mets 18-18 on the season. They're 7 out. You've got analytics, statistics. You've got letters that formulate some interesting statistic. You got it all.
Bill, my head's spinning. We heard Coach Kingsley earlier today talk about 300 being a number that he could explain. I know that number. That makes a lot of sense. But, Bill, let me try something else on for you. Outs above average.
Outs above average.
Mm-hmm.
Outs above.
Mm-hmm. The OAA.
Okay.
The OAA. So here's the deal. Orlando Arcia has been playing really well for the Braves at shortstop. And the question was whether or not, and this is in the Athletic, the question was whether or not he'd be able to replace Dansby Swanson, who he may be a better fielder or hitter, but he does not have a better head of hair or beard. Dansby, amazing. Dansby is amazing. But besides that, Orlando Arcia is actually playing better than Dansby this year. So when you look at his defensive runs above average, Bill, that's 4.6. What does that mean? I don't know, because Dansby Swanson is 1.4. So his is lower. Sometimes in analytics, it's good for your number to be higher. Sometimes it's better to be lower. In this particular analytic, defensive runs above average, it's better for your number to be higher. Now, Bill, you're probably asking, well, Preston, what is defensive runs above average? It's going to take a long time to explain to you. I'm not going to take that long. But essentially it means that how many plays does this player make when they're supposed to make them? Now, if you go to all of these statistics, there's so many numbers. They have the statistics broken down. What's their above average when they go to the right, when they go to the left, when they're coming in, when they're going out. And based on all of these numbers, our guy Orlando Arcia is number 6. So he's playing very well at shortstop. If you didn't need to know that, if you didn't see with your eyes that he's not making a bunch of plays, you can look at the analytics and see based on the outs above average, the OAA, Bill. So make sure you
that's a new one.
You got it down.
You know what? I like this, by the way, just probably once a week you just inform us, say new.
Listen, there are a lot of them. So if you're coming from the world that I'm coming in where 300 batting average is your number and errors is your other thing, like, oh, this guy made an error, he probably can't field. He hits 300, he's probably a good hitter. No. We're moving into the advanced analytics world, OAA, which was a big deal because Orlando Arcia is playing well. So he was hitting well. We knew he could hit, but now he's actually fielding well. So that's your analytics update. Orlando Arcia playing well at shortstop.
Okay, there you go.
Outs above average, Bill, 4.6.
4.6. You look across the league right now, obviously in the American League, the Yankees and the Orioles battling it out at the top of the East there. The Yankees 25-13, the Orioles 24-12. There is a nostalgia there. I don't know why, just 90s baseball.
Yeah.
That I like seeing the Orioles be up there.
That's fair.
I like that. The Cleveland Guardians, one of the teams the Braves just played. Braves, by the way, did just go through a very tough stretch there, playing the Central leading Guardians, who were 24-13, took 2 of 3 from them. Traveled out west to second place Seattle, who is 20-17 on the season, and they dropped 2 of 3. And then obviously that 3-game series against Los Angeles. Los Angeles tied with the Phillies for most wins in the league, in the entire league, 26. Both teams were 26. So a tough 9-game stretch. Still not a very good look for the Braves there, as they lost 6 of the 10 of the 9 games there. I do want to say this about the Dodgers, because I feel like in sports sometimes when somebody signs a huge contract, when they fail, we just blow it up. But when they live up to it, we're like, fine, whatever. Shohei Ohtani is living up to it.
Yeah.
Leading the league in batting, batting .355 right now. He is tied for second in the league with 11 home runs. He hit the monster blast, the absolute monster blast against the Braves the other day. Shohei Ohtani leads the league with 54, leads the National League with 54 hits. The guy,
Yeah, because, guess what? All he's focusing on is hitting now. He doesn't have to go out and pitch every 5th day. So now he's just like, I'm just going to be a hitter. I'm going to be incredible. And the thing about the Dodgers, Bill, this is a team that we probably should dislike very strongly because of how rich they are and how much money they've spent. But they all have a bunch of good guys.
They do. Seemingly so.
Freddie Freeman, good guy. Mookie Betts seems like a great guy. Shohei just got robbed of $17 million. It's like, we feel sorry for him. These guys seem like good dudes, man. But we should not like them because they are obviously a super team.
They are the definition of a super team. Jen's Cubs, 22-16 on the season, tied with the Brewers.
Jen, I don't know if you knew it, but Dansby Swanson has a OAA of 1.4, so there you go.
I'm not going to lie. I did not know that.
There you go.
So
I'm going to pretend.
So you got that again right now. Phillies and Braves. Braves 2 games behind the Phillies in the East. Braves setting up for a 3-game series now with the Mets this weekend. Brewers and Cubs tied in the Central. Dodgers already 6.5 up on the San Diego Padres, who would feel like they spent a ton of money. Now they did trade away, or Juan Soto left.
The total opposite of the Dodgers.
Yeah.
You look at the Padres team, you're like, I don't like any of these dudes. Get them all out of here.
And throughout baseball right now, it is the opposite of the Cubs. The Chicago White Sox 9-28, trudging through the season. Preston Thorne 162 games, and they played 37. And it feels like they show up at the park every day. They need a good summer sausage, is what they need. They need to find something.
Speaking of, the Twins are still playing well. I don't know what the deal is with the summer sausage right now, but they are still playing well.
Twins 8-2 in their last 10. They are 2.5 out behind the Guardians as well. There is some chop talk. Looking at the Braves, good analytics, nice statistic there. Again, talking a little bit about Marcell Ozuna, Big Bear. I actually did not know that until I did my research. Leading Major League Baseball with 12 home runs. Next week, I don't want to jinx him. It's one of those things where you want to give the stat, but his numbers over the last year, from when he was batting, I think it was 188, and was like on the verge of being cut to where he's at now, pretty ridiculous. Like record-setting ridiculous, but just because it's year over year and not one full year, kind of crazy.
I don't want to do any reckless speculation here.
We'll save it. We'll have chop talk.
We've seen numbers explode in baseball before. That's all I'm going to say.
We'll save it. We'll allow them to keep doing it. We'll allow them to do it. That's Chop Talk, brought to you by Carolina Turf Grass and Landscape Supply. Sodding South Carolina 1 square foot at a time. You want some sod? Well, they got some sod. Bermuda, Centipede, St. Augustine, or Zoysia. You want product? They've got mulch, soil, and sand, gravel, decorative rock and natural stone, pine straw, yard decor. They even got shelled corn. They've got everything you need for your yard. So call Carolina Turf Grass and Landscape Supply. They got a delivery service. They'll take care of you. 803-446-6525. Again, that's 803-446-6525. And if you mention you heard this ad here with Bill Gunner and Preston Thorne on Chop Talk, you can get a mulch discount. So call Carolina Turf Grass and Landscape Supply today, the official sponsor of Chop Talk here on the early game. We'll come back. We'll get back into some baseball, a few other topics popping up that Preston wants to get into that are around the sporting world. I do want to bring up this NCAA basketball tournament that I got into at the end of the program yesterday with you, and just get your quick thoughts on that as well. You're listening to the early game. You know what this weekend is? There's so much going on. I kind of have to remind you. You do it the Bassmaster, you got Darlington, you got South Carolina baseball, Braves there. There's so much going on. But this weekend is Mother's Day. Do not forget about Mom. Don't let Mom lift a finger this Mother's Day. Call the cleaning pros at Zero Risk Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning to get her home insanely clean. Mom probably maybe wants to flip around, have a little party on Sunday, watch the end of the Bassmasters, watch some Darlington. But she wants to do it in a clean home, and she doesn't want to be the one cleaning the home. You need to think of Mom. Call the cleaning pros at Zero Risk Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. Only with their ZR water technology will your house look sparkling. And right now you can get a great deal. Mention me, Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game, and get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $129. Schedule your cleaning today, ZeroRiskColumbia.com, or give them a phone call, 803-262-4020. Mention me, Bill Gunner. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $129. Zero Risk, spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
And what a mess out there today. And it's going to be really throughout the day as we continue to have showers and thunderstorms. I-20, sorry about that. Just got something that clicked in. I-26 eastbound before exit 97, stay left because the right lane is blocked. We are getting a report that Highway 378 coming out of Sumter is currently blocked. So find an alternate route if you're heading towards Columbia. Clemson Road near I-20, still an accident there. I-20 westbound at White Pond Road. I-77 southbound at Percival Road, an accident involving a truck. Traffic lights malfunctioning kind of throughout the Midlands, so just be cautious. And Pine Street at Highway 302, an accident there.
Coming up in just a short while, we're going to give you a chance to win tickets to this weekend's Darlington races. So continue to stay tuned, and we will get you some tickets, give you a chance to do that. But coming up now, it is our high school highlights of the week. I apologize. We normally do Chris Deering. We normally have Chris Deering on Friday. We moved him up this week because we'll be in Darlington tomorrow, and we got a lot of great content then, so we didn't want to shove Chris out of the picture, so we moved him up, and I totally blanked on that coming out of the last segment. Chris, I apologize for that because, well, there is a lot to get to. It might be the end of school. I think my children have less than 2 weeks. I know they only have about 7 or 8 full days left, but there is a lot happening on the high school scene right now as we wrap up the academic calendar year.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we less than 2 weeks away, and all the spring sports will be completed with state championships being crowned. But, you know, earlier this week had a couple of bombshell coaching decisions announced that some people may be seeing these things coming, and just they were finally confirmed this week. But, you know, 2 really big-time basketball coaching positions are open in this state with the retirement of legendary Irmo coach Tim Whipple after 43 years, and then Dion Bethea at Gray Collegiate stepping away to take a college job at Georgia Southern.
The Dion Bethea news, we'll get to that, but I tell you, the huge news there was Tim Whipple. And Jason Harmon and I talked a little bit about that yesterday. Next week, we'll be having on guys like Justin Mackey and some things. Because Tim, to me, not that Carl Williams and George Glimpf and several other Midlands coaches aren't legendary. I just grew up playing against Tim Whipple. I grew up playing for Bailey Harris. I saw that rivalry. I got to sit on the bench and watch it very up close and personal. But the things Coach Whipple did at Irmo, and really kind of, again, also turning the vibe into Midlands high school basketball can't be understated.
No, without question. You know, I stated this on social media when he stepped down. Tim Whipple was actually the first coach I ever interviewed, and that was way back in 1989 when I started at a weekly newspaper in Irmo. And he didn't have to be nice to me, but he always was very nice to me. He sort of guided me along the way in the early going, and we developed a really good relationship, I think, over the years. A friend of mine back in Moncks Corner, he texted me yesterday, and he actually said, "Do you realize we were in the 6th grade when Tim Whipple started coaching?" I mean, that's hard to just put in perspective. He's been there for 43 years. He won 6 state championships, made the state finals 11 times, I think 21 region championships, 848 wins, which is second all-time in the state. I mean, you can't state what Tim Whipple's done for basketball, not here just in the Midlands, but in the state of South Carolina. You know, he put you named those guys, George Glimpf, Carl Williams, and just the list goes on and on with the guys from his early 80s. But Tim sort of brought it out from this inner city and took it to the suburbs a little bit. And Bailey Harris joined in those ranks, and the teams out in the Northeast, now Ridgeview's that way. But, you know, back in the 80s, it was the inner city schools, the Keenans, the C.A. Johnsons, Lower Richland, A.C. Flora. It was all those schools that were winning. But Tim made it popular to win, you know, in the suburbs. And I remember that first state championship game against Eau Claire and George Glimpf. They came up a little bit short, and they came back the next year. And a Pat Marshall-led team, Marvin Orange, Jeremy Coulter, those guys won a state championship. And, that's when I started covering them. And it was around basketball and all sports at that point. And right then, I was just covering Irmo. And Dutch Fork was in the early beginnings. So I moved over to the state a couple of years later after that to help out on their coverage. But it's just been a great ride for Tim Whipple. Again, I can't state enough what he's meant to basketball, to everybody in the state, and really particularly here in the Midlands.
Yeah, you lot of great names there, and what he was able to do. And again, we hope to have Coach Whipple and Coach Harris join us this summer, one morning, to kind of talk about basketball in the Midlands. One of the teams you just mentioned, Eau Claire, they made a hire this week, and they go back to a former alum.
Yeah, they did. We talked about George Limp, one of his better players back in the 80s. Junior Laurie is back at Eau Claire. He's been at Great Collegiate as an assistant for a few years under Dion Bethea, and he's gotten a head coaching job. And if you ever encounter Junior Laurie, just get him to start telling you George Limp stories, and you will be entertained for hours. I know I said at the Chick-fil-A Classic this past year, and we talked over an hour, I think, just talking about George Limp and some of the things he taught and did, and kicked Junior off the bus on some trips and some things like that. So just a great guy. I'm very happy for him to see him finally get a head coaching job here in the Midlands, and he's back at his alma mater, and I think that's going to be really good for Eau Claire and maybe get them back as one of the powers to be here in the Midlands like it used to be.
And then interesting, big transition over at Gray Collegiate. They lose Adam Holmes this offseason in football. Now you lose Dion Bethea in basketball. We'll talk about Kevin Heisey and what he's got a chance to do over there in the next segment. But Dion Bethea now opens up a Gray Collegiate job that I think is very interesting.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they could get several applicants for that job. I know they want to get somebody in place by June 1st. Just sort of going to be on the fast track. Just probably within 3 weeks, we will get a hire over at Gray. I've heard some names mentioned already, and it's some high-profile coaches, and there's some coaches that's got some college experience looking at that job. They're moving up to 4A next year, and that's going to be a different landscape for them a little bit, but it's still a high-profile job, and they're still going to be good. They're still going to be great collegiate, I believe. But Dion put his stamp on that program. I think he had 6 state championships, 3 in a row. He's won the last 3 in 2A. So Dion's done a great job here in the Midlands as well. He's a former Richland Northeast player. So he's been around this area. And I tell you, going to Georgia Southern, he might have a pipeline opened up between Columbia and Statesboro, Georgia, and seeing what he can get put on the recruiting trail to bring some guys down there. He's got 2 of his former players actually on that Georgia Southern team right now, so I think that's a really great fit for Dion and what he wants to do and advance his career.
I have nothing to add except you said one of my favorite expressions. I'm hearing some names.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
I'm hearing some names.
That's what I love to hear in a coach's
Without
search.
saying a name, that's a name drop right there.
Yes, I love to hear that.
Name
hearing
drop.
some names.
Name drop. 803-404-6100. I see a couple of y'all weighing in. We'll come back on the other side. Chapin did hire a football coach, but also we'll get into some baseball and softball upper and lower state championships, soccer state championship this weekend. We'll get into all that with Chris as we roll along. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen, and Chris Deering. It is the early game. Bill Gunner for the mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder, with First Palmetto Bank. At the new year, and it's not really new anymore, has had you looking to buy or refinance, even build, you need to check out what First Palmetto Bank and First Palmetto Bank and Jacob Crowder are doing. They have some incredible deals. How about this? If you're looking to build a home, they have a no-nonsense construction loan to fit your needs. So give the mortgage guru a call today, 803-719-1005. Again, that's 803-719-1005. I can personally vouch for Jacob Crowder. Just a few years ago, he helped me get my condo on the lake. Found a great interest rate, found a great plan. Paperwork was nice and easy. And guess what? First Palmetto Bank, they're locally owned and operated, which means Jacob has local decision makers, which makes for a quick and precise underwriting. Learn more today. Call the mortgage guru, 803-719-1005.
Pretty busy out there this morning. Let's see. Clemson Road near I-20, we have an accident. Also going to need to stay left on I-26 eastbound before exit 97. I-20 westbound at White Pond Road, still working that earlier tie-up. I-26 westbound at exit 91. I-77 southbound at Percival Road. Traffic lights malfunctioning. Old Charleston Road at Fish Hatchery Road, and actually several reports of traffic lights malfunctioning, so just be careful out there. Pine Street at Highway 302 also have a report that coming out of Sumter on 378, that is closed if you're heading towards Columbia. You might have to turn around there. Off and on storms throughout the day today. It's going to be kind of messy, and a little bit of rain right now on the early game.
.35 as we roll along on a Thursday morning, joined as we typically are on a Friday for the high school highlights of the week by Chris Deering, but moving that up a day since we will be in Darlington and getting all fired up for that tomorrow, and a lot to get to, so let's jump right back into it. Let's just quick note on football. Chapin makes a hire for the head football coaches. I think they're probably about ready to get spring football underway.
Spring football is going on. I actually was out at Chapin to see soccer earlier this week, and football was just ending as I was pulled into the parking lot, and I was able to meet the new Chapin coach, Ryan Cole. He's been the defensive coordinator out in Chapin for a few years now, and he got the head job, his first head coaching job. I think he's in his early 50s, so I know he's excited. I talked to him and Justin Gentry for a good 10 or 15 minutes along the fence as we were watching soccer, and good to meet him and see what he can do. He's excited to get started, and he was talking about spring practice and how well it was going already. So Ryan Cole's getting his first chance to be a head coach here in the Midlands, and I'm sure he's excited for what the future holds.
Chris, you said another one of my favorite pastimes is talking along the fence. Oh man, nothing says high school sports like talking along the fence line. But
yeah, that's what we do, Preston.
Absolutely.
That's how you get the name.
Absolutely. Well, Chris, I appreciate you, but I do feel that we might have some business to attend to tonight.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Mm-hmm. It's real now. Mm-hmm. They played the regular season. I think they played the preseason tournament. But it's Lower State Championship Series, Berkeley and Somerville tonight, and it does not get any bigger than that in the Low Country. You know that.
Yes, sir. This is game one tonight.
So what we have is 4 teams remaining in the Lower State, 4 in the Upper State, and they still play the double elimination bracket. West Ashley and Ashley Ridge is on the other side of the Lower State bracket. So it's Berkeley and Somerville, West Ashley and Ashley Ridge, and the winners will play on Saturday, and the losers will play, and somebody will be eliminated, obviously, on Saturday, and it goes into that format in next week, the Crown and Lower State Championship. So a lot of good things going on. I will have an eye peeled down to the Low Country tonight, but also got a game here locally to cover. Lexington and Dutch Forks playing in the Upper State Championship Series, so a lot of good baseball getting ready to happen over the next couple of weeks here.
Well, you mentioned that's the Lower State. Give us a little bit of the Upper State real quick from what you've got.
Well, I'd say you got Lexington and Dutch Fork playing tonight, 2 region rivals. They've already played this year. And then the other 2 teams left in that bracket are Norman and J.L. Mann. So that's the 8 teams in 5A. I've said all year, there's not a really dominant team in 5A. There's a lot of really good teams, and this is being Captain Obvious here, but it's almost paramount. You got to stay in the winners bracket. You got to control and be in the winners bracket, and you got to host that last game where somebody's got to come to you and beat you twice. And I know I can tell you just from I follow them very closely. Berkeley was able to throw their number 3 starter the other night in their district championship, so they have their new number 1 because the real number 1 is out for the season with an injury. But they're able to throw their new number one pitcher tonight. Somerville did have to play 2 to win the district. They had to beat Stratford. So their pitching might be a little thin, but, they got a lot of arms down there, Somerville. And one name that we've mentioned all year, Carson Messina, the younger brother of Cole Messina, he is back for Somerville. I didn't know that he was going to be able to come back, but I don't think he can pitch, but he has been able to DH, and he hit 2 home runs the other night, so that's a big booster for Somerville to get him back, at least in a hitting capacity.
You mentioned all that. Real quick, I saw an interesting thing this week. Gilbert baseball, a game was, I believe, in the 5th inning, and they ended up losing to Buford. It was called because of rain, and they did not allow to finish the game out, and that ended Gilbert's season. You got any background on that? I just saw it on X, Twitter, whatever, and just seemed like an interesting way to decide a playoff, not a regular season game, but a playoff game.
Well, so the rule is it's just like Major League Baseball and college baseball. If you get to a certain point in the game, and in high school, I'm pretty certain it's the middle of the 5th, if the home team is winning, it's an official game. And I 100% agree that that's a terrible way to end your season. And what really made it a little bit controversial, I think, is Gilbert left Buford that night thinking they were coming back down the next day to finish the game, and there was not a decision made that night that the game was official and it was over. The decision was not made till the next day. And I talked to somebody, I really felt for those seniors, especially, who thought they were put the uniform on one more time and go down. And it was a 5-3 game. It was not like the lead was, it wasn't 12-2 going into the bottom of the 5th. It was 5-3. So Gilbert had a very good chance of still coming back to win that game. But that you're thinking you're going to play a game the next day and you get told that, no, your season's over. That's got to be really heartbreaking and crushing for everybody, but for those seniors especially that don't get a chance to go out and play one more time. So, I think something's got to be done about that. And, just to let it be known at the time of the game's called, that's it, it's official, and both teams, the game's over. But to wait and make that decision the next day, that was Gilbert and Buford. There was one in Class A that did the same thing. The high score was a little bit more lopsided than what Gilbert and Buford was, but that's just a tough way to go out. And I think something's got to be done. Some rules have to be talked about and maybe some changes made in that aspect, especially for the postseason.
We got about 2 minutes left here. Real quick shout out. We'll get into this more next week. Allen weighs in. Cardinal Newman winning last night 7-6 on a walk-off hit. They'll play for the state championship. Cardinal Newman will against the winner of Augusta Christian and Pinewood Prep. So congratulations to the Cards on that. But it is a state championship weekend for boys and girls soccer. What can you tell us there?
So locally, like I said, I went out to Chapin. They were able to win the lower state championship on I think that was Tuesday over West Ashley, 1-0. So they will get Clover at 1 p.m. tomorrow. So state championship on Friday afternoon over here at Memorial Stadium off of Rosewood in Columbia. Chapin hadn't been to the final since 2017. They were able to get over the hump this Wando. They were the dominant team in 5A. Wando was the 3-time defending state champion. They beat them in the 3rd round. They beat West Ashley, and now Chapin's got a chance to win a state championship against Clover tomorrow afternoon. And then Gray Collegiate on Saturday around 3 o'clock. They will play Oceanside, a rematch from last year. Kevin Heisey in the championship for the 6th time in his career. He's not won one yet. He still has not won a state championship. He's one of the winningest coaches in soccer history of South Carolina, but that state championship has eluded him so far, and he's going to try to win a state championship Saturday afternoon at Memorial Stadium. So that's the local teams. You look at the 3A, Waccamaw got their boys and girls in. Stratford and 5A boys are in it against Fort Mill. Christchurch, both boys and girls are in it in the 1A, 2A bracket. And then Riverside, James Island in the 4A girls, and Eastside, Lucy Beckham in the 4A boys.
Chris, we always appreciate it. Next week we'll get more back into the championships for the baseball and the softball and everything else as we wrap it up there. But we always appreciate a lot of great information. There's a lot to get to. Hope you have a safe and great weekend.
All right, you do the same. Preston, I might be messaging you later.
There you go. There you
Yes,
go.
sir. Yes, sir.
We'll trash talk next week.
Looking forward to it.
Chris Deering joining us as he does usually every Friday. Today, Thursday, it's the high school highlights of the week. We'll come back. We'll wrap up our number 2. You're listening to the early game. Bill Gunner for Mid-State Roofing. For nearly 30 years, Mid-State Roofing owner and founder Larry Leitner, they've been the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. And with nights like last night where we get these massive thunderstorms, whether you're in Myrtle Beach, whether you're in Florence, whether you're in Columbia right here, or somewhere else listening on the 107.5 The Game app, Mid-State Roofing is ready to take care of you, and they do it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Never a better example than, again, last night. You're getting rain. It's 3 a.m. Maybe you discover a leak and you think you got a problem. Well, guess what? Mid-State Roofing, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, has somebody ready to take your phone call, an on-call technician or a Mid-State Roofing employee. And last night, they would have been there for you, 3 a.m. So if there's ever an issue like that again, you call Mid-State Roofing, 803-356-1919. Again, that's 803-356-1919. If you've got a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek. Big thank you to Chris Deering for joining us. There's those previous two segments. Again, normally he's on the Friday show. Normally we do high school highlights then. But we are in Darlington tomorrow, getting you ready for the Goodyear 400 on Sunday afternoon, for the Xfinity race on Saturday. And you know what? Everybody loves a little trivia, Preston and Jen. Matter of fact, Thursday nights, typically trivia night at most little establishments. People like to go up. Big trivia night. Well, we're going to get you started right now. We got some trivia for you for Darlington.
So this is where I guess I'll do a little trivia for you, huh? Let's see what we've got.
Please.
All right. We'll see if you guys know, but obviously I can't tell you until after we get the first phone call. But this should be pretty easy. What NASCAR star once hosted Saturday Night Live? We had one NASCAR host, at least that we know of, but at least the original that hosted Saturday Night Live. So 803-404-6100. I'll take the first caller to see who wins, and I will report back.
When they win, they win?
They win a pair of tickets, to the Goodyear 400, the race on Sunday.
There you go. You can
at Darlington.
Who was, you said the first driver?
Yes.
First and only, or first?
I would just say the first driver who has hosted Saturday Night Live.
I think I know.
I got a guess, but I don't know if that's
I think I know. I see some people weighing in. I think I know, but you got to call. You got to call, and you got to tell Jen, and it looks like we'll get an answer here in just a second. 803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in on that and win yourself a pair of tickets. Tonight over at Founders Park again, South Carolina. And George will talk more about that. I will be needing to get out of here in a few minutes. Unfortunately, I have a funeral for a family member that I need to attend this morning, so I'll be leaving Preston and Tyler here to go about getting us through the final hour. But again, as I said, the way we kind of do the show at times, we do a rundown, and Preston will put things on there, and I go, and I want to hear what Preston's got. And it appears Arkansas has gone into It doesn't sound like they've gone into the transfer portal. It sounds like they went into free agency and found someone.
Bill, this is a return of one of my favorite reoccurring segments, and that is check his birth certificate. It's one of my favorite segments. It's one of my favorite things that we do. This started with Jermaine Cousineau when he scored 40 points against us, and he had no business playing against those little poor kids that we had. We were fielding those teams, those young whippersnappers. But we have taken this up to another level, Bill. Monte Harrison is going to return to football.
Oh, good.
Now, are you familiar with Monte Harrison?
I have no clue.
I wasn't quite familiar with him, but let's say Monte Harrison has had a separate career since he left high school in 2014, Bill. 2014. To put this in context, Bill.
In the math, that's 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good.
Let's do our math real quick. Here are some of the other people who came out of high school in the year 2014. You ready for some of these names, Bill? Myles Garrett.
Okay.
Leonard Fournette. Christian McCaffrey. Deshaun Watson. And you might be thinking, okay, well, that doesn't hit close enough to home because clearly we're South Carolina fans, and maybe those names don't really ring a bell. Well, let me read some of these names from the recruiting class that South Carolina had in 2014.
Okay.
Are you ready? Bryson Allen Williams.
Nice.
Donnell Stanley.
Okay.
Debo Samuel.
Oof.
Chris Lamons. Casey Crosby. Taylor Stallworth. Michael Scarnecchia. All of these guys signed
in 2014.
To be clear, Coach Spurrier's signing class of 2014.
Yeah.
2 coaches ago. So Monte Harrison will be walking on at Arkansas after a 10-year career in bouncing up and back in between the minor leagues in baseball. He is 28 years old, and he will be walking on as a freshman at the University of Arkansas this year.
Well, 4 years of eligibility.
He has 4 years of eligibility left.
There's a dazed and confused line in there that we just will save since it's the 7 o'clock hour.
If you know what it is, you know what it is.
Yeah.
But he they said that he is put it like this.
Mature.
Well, he's 3 weeks older than Patrick Mahomes.
Oh my gosh.
And he'll be playing as a freshman.
Hey man, we might have to revisit this for just a second. Because I guess if you've made enough money in major league, like in the minors, just enough, and you want to go be a college player and just be in college at 28 and have a few dollars, all right, power to you, man. Power to you. Let's hold that one. I want to
hold
come
it
back
on.
to
So
that.
that is your listen. I don't know if we can get that sponsored, but that is check his birth certificate. We'll see. That's a
Okay.
reoccurring
Sponsored by
thing.
AARP. Jen, we got a winner.
Yes. So Jeff Gordon was the answer.
Ah, that's what I thought.
Got it
Well
right.
done. So Jason Brown is heading to the Goodyear 400 on Sunday.
Congratulations to Jason.
More trivia coming up in the 8 o'clock hour.
There you
We have
go.
2 more pairs of tickets.
Congratulations, Jason, and good job. Dale Jr. was the only other one
That's
I
the
could
one
think
that's
of.
what I had it written. Those are the two I had.
That was the two. It's good stuff, Jen. Good stuff. We'll give you more tickets to that. Hour 3 on the way. It is the early game.
What a mess out there this morning, and sadly, that's going to be kind of how it continues throughout the day. I-26 eastbound before exit 97, the right lane continues to be blocked, so stay left. I-20 eastbound before Monticello Road, an accident. Also, I-20 westbound at exit 87, White Pond Road. I-26 westbound at Columbia Avenue, exit 91. Reimer Pond Road near Cooper's Pond Road. Also, Highway 601 at Fredericksburg Drive. And traffic lights malfunctioning Old Charleston Road at Fish Hatchery Road. I know we have reports of traffic lights malfunctioning elsewhere across the Midlands, so do be careful. Scattered storms throughout the day. Also still a report 378 coming into from Sumter might be closed as well.
$8 a.m. on a Thursday morning where we have just learned that a 28-year-old will walk on at Arkansas. What position is he?
Wide receiver.
Oh, see, that's not even a quarterback. Like,
no, he's
28 at wide receiver. That almost, like, quarterback, you're like, okay, you got to stand back there and throw the ball. 28 at wide receiver, like, there's more time in the training room.
Well, he was listed last year on the Nashville. I'm trying to figure out what team he was playing for. A Nashville minor league affiliate at 6'3", 220. So he's always been known as a physical specimen. And, yes, he will be 28 years old. And just in case some of those names weren't enough, I have a few more. Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
Dalvin Cook.
Dalvin Cook, really?
Dalvin Cook. The whole storyline behind Dalvin Cook was last year was he's too old to play in the NFL. He's cooked.
Yeah.
He's been playing in the league too long.
I'm waiting for you to give that one name. Keep talking. I might have one for you.
So some of these names. What's really fascinating, and I think everybody should do this once we, Alan Lazard, he's pretty good. Will Greer. As you go through these names, what's always interesting is to go back through recruiting classes and realize just how many people do not make it to the NFL or do not even make a very significant impact in college. I'm talking top 100 folks here, top 100 people who played in the SEC who I probably should be sort of familiar with, and it just doesn't happen for whatever the reason is. It's always a stark reminder that everybody doesn't make it, and there are also a lot of surprises along the way when you talk about recruiting classes. But, yeah, this guy played a certifiably long time ago. Got one for me?
Well, I'm just trying to do the math quickly because he's been in the league. He's been a stud. He signed a huge contract, and he's out. He's done. He doesn't even play anymore. He owns a indoor league team. But Todd Gurley was in the 2015 NFL draft, which is a little different. But Gurley only played 3 years.
Similar class.
Gurley's 29, for those wondering.
There you go.
He'll be 30 in August. Thinking of that. So, yeah, well, welcome to the wacky world of college football that it is today. We've been so we talked a little bit about that. Speaking of which, Jen, I tell you what, I didn't see this earlier. Jen, if we can play some audio here, Andy Staples did a basement ceiling comparison for South Carolina. One of the things he said was talking about Lenoris Sellers being a dark horse Heisman candidate. Dark horse Heisman, number 19, Jen. We were on that first.
Claim it.
We were on that first. We're going to have to go back and cut that audio. But here is Andy Staples talking about Lenora Sellers this year being a dark horse Heisman candidate.
Andy, this might be my hottest take of the season, but I think we're looking at a Lenora Sellers dark horse sort of Heisman caliber.
Whoa.
We are so high on him at On3, right? Like we believed in the talent. We saw the physical makeup, the athletic ability, the arm talent, the ability to push the ball vertically. Even if they don't have some of the pieces back there, I will say they did bring in Raheem Sanders to carry the load at running back, which is
Raheem
extremely
Sanders, yeah,
helpful.
absolutely.
I think that two-headed monster in that backfield is going to be scary, scary. And I think they know what they have in a guy like Nicholas Harbor, right? If those three guys are the only ones that touch the ball on this offense, I'm okay. Because I believe that Lenora Sellers is going to be so much of a game changer. They were raving about him even before he took a snap of spring. This is somebody that they were saying, oh my gosh, this kid though with the rec specs is an absolute dude back here.
You had me, and then you lost me.
Sometimes you got to end the sentence.
You had me, and then you showed me you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it happens.
Like, okay, yeah, physical makeup, yeah, On3 Sports, yeah. And then they have to throw Nick Harbor in there. And no offense to Nick Harbor. No, I don't see it with him this year. So
it's not that you don't see it; you haven't seen it.
And he didn't go through spring ball.
And
he fundamentally has to develop. I'm not talking about runs 7 yards and come back and catch the ball.
He was pulling a little trick there. He may have had some solid Lenora Sellers analysts, and then he just said, "Oh, 5-star."
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, get him the ball.
Yeah, that's where he loses me. Now I feel good about it. Now all I feel like is that Andy Staples listened to our April 22nd program.
Mm-hmm.
He was listening for content after the South Carolina spring game, didn't do his own research, and now he's all in on Lenora Sellers.
Yeah, you just got to cut that. And for correction, I do think that was his co-host. Don't think that was Andy Staples. I do think that was his co-host. I do think that was Cody, who was saying.
Okay, even less confidence now.
Yeah, so I just want to just to clear Andy Staples, but he did say that, and so maybe there is this consensus. And this is how media works, Bill. This is how the media works. Me, you, we're all media. So whatever. This is how it works. A dude says something from a reputable site like On3, and then all of a sudden there are people that are going around saying, Lenora Sellers, dark horse candidate. We did it with a wink wink. They did it for real. It would be great, but also on top of that, you'll hear people just start repeating, Nick Harbor, watch out. And you'll be like, what are they talking about? And a lot of times it's just because it comes from a source who purports to know what they're talking about. And that's clearly not the case right here.
Yeah. We do have high expectations for Lenora Sellers. I am excited to see him.
He was 9 of 11 in the spring game.
I am trying to not go down the path of him being overly hyped. And then you get
Wait a second. Bill, you've written word that you overly hyped him last year.
Yeah, no, I'm totally to blame. I'm totally to blame.
This is all they saw Bill's tweet and said, you know what? That early game guy's been on it.
Yeah, I am full 100% on blame if Lenora Sellers comes out and does not play well against Old Dominion. This is why I've learned in this industry openly admit I have no clue what Old Dominion is. So earlier I made a similar reckless proclamation. Because I have no idea. I have no idea what Old Dominion's defense is. I don't know if they run a 3-3-5 or a 3-4 or I don't know, their defensive coordinator could be HR Puffin stuff. I have no idea.
I'll tell you, this is what I do know about ODU. They play hard. They got a lot of guys that can play.
A lot of under-the-radar guys.
A lot of guys that could have been on.
Scrappy.
We do know that.
So earlier I made a proclamation because it felt like the right thing to say, even though I have no actual factual information to back this up, that in that game against Old Dominion with the Sellers, with Rocket Sanders, with Oscar Attaway, with this rebuild offense on, South Carolina should better run for at least 175 yards. And then I realized I'm just throwing stuff out there. I'm just hyped up on coffee this morning. I was up way too late last night. I'm just saying.
Coffee and grief a bad combination, man. You just get out here and say stuff, man.
Gotta go. Yeah. 803-404-6100. I do want to get to some real quick. I do want to go back to Mark Kingston's comment about Charlie Condon in just a second. Almost going back to Little League. But first, let me tell you about the Ecton Law Firm. If you've got tax troubles and they're weighing you down, don't let the stress of taxes, levies, or liens hold you back. Call John Ecton and his team. Whether you're here in Columbia, whether you're in Florence, whether you're in Myrtle Beach, you can get a free consultation because if the IRS is coming after you, you need professional help. And John Ecton and his team are there to help you. 803-771-9800. Again, that's 803-771-9800. The Ecton Law Firm has a local team dedicated to resolving your income or business tax issues for good. They understand the challenges you face, and that's why it all starts with a free consultation. So call the Ecton Law Firm today, 803-771-9800. Call the Ecton Law Firm today. Tell them you heard it with Bill Gunner on the early game. South Carolina baseball tonight, 7:45. Pre-game right here, 107.5 The Game, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. Georgia, first pitch, 8 o'clock. Charlie Condon is in town. Golden Spikes Award favorite. Bulldog, he's batting .459. He's got 33 home runs. He's
Take
got
that for data. 459.
.459. He's got 33 home runs. He's got 69 RBIs. This guy is a walking home run. That's all he does. So yesterday, Jen, let's pull this back. This is number one. Mark Kingston was asked, how do you pitch to Charlie Condon? This is Mark Kingston's response.
You throw the ball to the backstop and make sure he doesn't steal second base. How about that?
Preston, you were a high school All-American, All-State first team. You were a feared first baseman. Did you get that kind of treatment in the because this sounds like a little league thing? No offense to Mark Kingston, I understand what he's going. He's making a joke. He's being funny, and I love that about Mark Kingston. But did you get that? Because that's the little league. Like, oh no.
Bill, I'm going to be 1,000% transparent here. I don't like to do this very often, but at my little league park, they instituted a rule in my honor that you could only intentionally walk somebody one time per game.
Ooh,
This might be my biggest brag of my athletic abilities. Along with the 22 points in 7th grade
That's a good point,
at the YMCA, they instituted a rule that you can only walk someone one time per game. So I feel Charlie Condon's pain.
Write that down. That's a topic coming up. Little league rules that were changed because of one play that just seem odd, that just don't seem right, that we all played with. If you played Little League baseball at some point in your life, you encountered, especially Little League baseball, maybe basketball, you encountered a rule that you're like that shouldn't be allowed. That's not how the sport is even played.
I'm gonna be honest. That happened. Definitely was a victim of check his birth certificate and also a victim of what's in his bat. He got tennis balls in his bat. I have to be honest. I say this humbly.
I will leave you with this from yesterday, buying dress pants with my son Austin. He's growing. He had to pick out a new pair of pants. We're in the section. He goes, Dad, I see slim fit and I see husky. What does husky mean?
Son, you don't know anything about that life. I, on the other hand, when I was also there, what is slim fit? What are those?
Yeah. What are you doing with that? What is
slim? Who wears those?
There you go. 803-404-6100. Tyler Head's going to step in and get you home with Preston and Jen. I'll be back. We will be in Darlington tomorrow. I look forward to talking to you. Preston, Jen, get us home safely. Tyler will step in, do a phenomenal job. Hour 3 is taking place. They'll be back in just a second.
Preston here. Let me tell you about my friends at Integrated Media. We've been counting down all these days, 16 days until 100 days. So many days until the schedule release. But you know what? You can still have time to get yourself ready for spring and summer with Integrated Media. Whether you want Samsung Terrace TVs, waterproof, Sonos outdoor speakers for TV and music, Wi-Fi that works indoors and outdoors, or you can even just get all your devices controlled from just one remote. That's my personal favorite thing to have. Now, it doesn't matter whether it's home theater setup, adjusting your thermostat, or monitoring your security system from your cell phone. Integrated Media is the company that you need to call. So call Nathan and Michael at 803-948-8327. That's 803-948-8327. Or reach them online at integratedmediainc.com. That's online at integratedmediainc.com.
Quite the mess out there this morning, and that probably is going to continue throughout the day. We have an accident, Reimer Pond Road near Cooper's Pond Road, Old Cherokee near Old Chapin, Old Charleston Road at Fish Hatchery Road, also I-26 westbound at Columbia Avenue, Green Lawn at Garner's Ferry, a tie-up there, Blythewood Road at Winsboro Road, I-26 eastbound before exit 97, the right lane is blocked, so you're still going to need to stay left. And I-20 eastbound before Monticello Road, the left lane is blocked, so stay right, I-20 eastbound before Monticello Road. We have Highway 378 coming from Sumter. We have reports that that is still blocked, and lots of malfunctioning traffic lights. So be careful, thunderstorms throughout the day today.
Welcome back into the early game. It's Preston Thorne, and we have somebody else who was part of the recruiting class of 2014.
I did not get assigned a star rating, unfortunately. I was overlooked coming out of high school.
Underrated, overlooked,
Yeah.
scrappy.
I had to go to community college.
Yeah, well,
You
yeah.
are our 4-star.
That's right.
Thank you. Only a 4-star.
Only 4. I know. I got to thinking about that. I'm like,
man.
okay, you're our 5. You're our 6-star.
6 stars. We
6
give
stars.
you an extra. Tyler Head is joining
Well, you know
us.
what? I still have eligibility, so
Well,
you know what I mean?
Obviously,
there you go.
It's clear that it's possible because Monte Harrison is still looking in. If you're just joining us, there is a 28-year-old who will be wandering the campus of Arkansas as a walk-on with Sam Pittman's crew. Very interesting story. It is, if you actually read the story, it's really interesting how, people get drafted and sometimes it doesn't work out the way it's not going to be a fairy tale all the time. And even as I was reading through and looking at some of the guys who were in his recruiting class from 2014, I was saying some notable names. I don't know if you heard that. Christian McCaffrey,
Yep.
Deshaun Watson, Miles Jarrett, a lot of guys, Miles Garrett, a lot of guys. But in between that, there was also a lot of guys who were ranked as highly who didn't necessarily make it to the NFL. And that's just sort of how it that's sort of how it rolls. But glad you're in here because Jen has some trivia, and I have my 2 NASCAR savants in here.
That's right.
Tyler, now I wrote it down, the last one.
Okay.
I had 2 options. Either I had Junior or Jeff Gordon.
Yep.
Which I've been thinking about this a lot as I've been still contemplating the Drake and Kendrick Lamar beef.
Yeah.
Drake is Jeff Gordon.
I think that's an apt comparison. I feel like that could work.
That's who Drake is because it's this idea of like this guy, he's really good.
Yeah.
None of the purists really like him. He's very popular.
Good way to look at it.
Kind of rubs people the wrong way.
Yeah.
Not for any other reason, just because he's good.
Right.
And he's just kind of not of the norm of what everybody else does.
He was from California.
Exactly. Can't be from California.
Growing up Jeff Gordon fan in the early 2000s was a rough time.
Exactly. So it's a rough time to defend it. But Jen, we have some trivia here that we want to give away.
We absolutely do. So let's hit it. So this is more of a multiple choice, I guess. So you have to choose which one. What driver is the only driver to have won the Winston Cup, the Nextel Cup, and the Sprint Cup? Is it Jimmy Johnson, Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, or Kyle Busch? So which of those drivers is the only driver to have ever won the Winston Cup, the Nextel Cup, and the Sprint Cup? So the first caller with the correct answer, 803-404-6100. It's going to be going to the Goodyear 400 this weekend, a pair of tickets.
As we see them light up, Tyler, you got a good handle on that one.
Oh yeah, I know the answer.
You ready?
Yeah.
Tyler knows everything.
Is this like, okay, what level? If we was playing Trivia Pursuit, is this the lowest level, mid level, high level? Where are we on this one?
I feel like that's probably somewhere in the mid level. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm not trying to make it like really difficult, like, the Hudson Hornet. I'm not. No, we're not going to go that deep.
You would have to have at least a good surface level knowledge over a period of time. I'll say that much.
Okay, so you have to because they're playing now. Before we go into just break it down for me.
Yeah.
The different Cup series. So we had all the different ones that we had. This can be our really quick NASCAR.
Yeah.
NASCAR
So
talk right here.
the series has always been the same. That was just different title sponsors.
Oh, so that's why it's over time.
Winston Cigarettes sponsored until 2003. Nextel took over after that, and then Nextel became Sprint a couple years later, and then Sprint, their final season was 2016. So it's literally just the title sponsor.
So it's somebody that had to have had a pretty strong duration of time in which they were able to win.
Yes, you would be talking about well over a decade, to accomplish all those things.
Dick Trickle is not one of these answers.
Dick Trickle is not one of those answers.
Okay.
I know that is a favorite of many people when talking about race cars, but Dick Trickle never won a Cup race.
So he was just popular because of his name?
Exactly. Well, he was like a short track legend. Like, he's from Wisconsin. He won everything there was to win on the short track scene, but never quite accomplished, never quite got to the Cup Series level as far as winning.
See, that's how sometimes it works. When you don't know everything, you just think, I just think Dick Trickle's just a funny name.
Yeah.
Here I go. He's an actual legend on the short track.
Right.
Who would have known?
So, speaking of drivers being on, shows and stuff like that, Dale Earnhardt was on the Letterman show after he won the Daytona 500 in 98. And, Letterman always did the, 10 things or whatever. And it was, why did it take Dale Earnhardt 20 years to win the Daytona 500? He said, who cares if it took me 20 years? At least my name's not Dick Trickle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's fair. Jen, do we have a winner?
We do have a winner, and we'll do one more trivia contest before the end of the show. But congratulations, Anthony Scott. He's going to the race on Sunday, and the winner, or the answer is Tony Stewart.
Tony
That's right.
Stewart. Okay. I have a visual of Tony Stewart.
I love me some Tony Stewart now.
Tony Stewart, if I remember, pretty feisty.
Correct.
A little bit,
Yeah,
say the least.
Pretty feisty, right?
Might have whipped a helmet or two.
That's what's in my mind.
Threw helmets, got in fights, punched a photographer one time.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah, that was a while back.
Yeah, he's mellowed a little bit.
Okay.
And now he's a little more calm. He's a little more married.
That's exactly what I had. I was like,
Yeah.
pretty a dude doing a lot of things, if I remember Tony Stewart
Yeah,
correctly.
but he won the Winston Cup in 02, won the Nextel Cup in 05, and then won the Sprint Cup in 2011.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, cool. So we have one more trivia to come back. When we come back on the other side, Brian Kelly's talking again.
Yes, he is.
And it's always strange because Brian Kelly is a tremendous coach.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes his communication skills aren't as good as his football skills.
At least he's not faking an accent this time. So there's that.
This is true. So when we come back on the other side, we'll hear from Brian Kelly and talk about what his thoughts are on the current state of, I guess, NIL. I think that's what he was referring to. We'll be back on the other side. This is Preston Thorne, Tyler Head, Jen Jensen. It's the early game. Preston here. Let me tell you about my friends at Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, home, and business glass repair. So if your glass is damaged, shattered, cracked, or broken, they can handle the job. If it's a cracked windshield, that's no problem. They'll come out to your location and replace it for you. Yes, they will come out to wherever you are. Doesn't matter whether you're at school, home, work, they'll come out to your location, replace it for you, usually for free, and they work directly with your insurance company to take away the headache. Now, if you're looking to increase the value of your home with new windows or mirrors, Absolute Glass will come out and take care of that for you too. Windows, mirrors, shower enclosures. I say all the time, if you can see through it, Ray and Marianne at Absolute Glass can do it. So check them out online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com. That's online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com.
And we'll just kind of go through the rundown. I-26 eastbound before exit 97. Going to want to stay left because the right lane is blocked. Blythewood Road at Winsboro Road, an accident there. Also Dutch Fork Road at Roshmetz Road. Green Lawn at Garner's Ferry. I-20 eastbound before Monticello Road. Old Charleston Road at Fish Hatchery Road. Old Cherokee Road near Old Chapin, an accident there. Reimer Pond Road near Cooper's Pond Road. Highway 601 at Fredericksburg, an accident there as well. And we're waiting for an update. We'd understood that Highway 378 coming out of Sumter, it was blocked there and not able to get through. So keep an eye on that. And we're looking at thunderstorms really throughout the day today and going for a high of about 86. A couple stray storms tomorrow.
Welcome back into the early game. Preston Thorne, Tyler Head, Jen Jensen. We've talked about a lot today, but this particular segment we're going to talk about Brian Kelly.
Favorite topic of many.
A lot of people like talking about Kelly, and I'm a Brian Kelly, I can't say fan, but I'm an advocate because anybody that wins on every single level, everywhere he goes, undeniably, objectively, a very close to great coach. I think if he gets that championship, that puts him in a great category. But he's right there of as good a coach as you can find in college football.
Absolutely. And I know a lot of people thought, he's not going to be able to cut it down in the SEC. And then went to the championship game in year number one. And if that team would have had any semblance of a defense a year ago, there's no telling what they could have done with how explosive that offense was.
It's funny you say that because they did not have a defense. And this is something that they've been trying to shore up. And this is Brian Kelly talking about the nature of trying to shore their roster up. They're going to give him the whole time to sort of talk about this. There's a lot of points during this, but it's good to let's let Brian Kelly speak for Brian Kelly. So, Jen, can we get the clip of Brian Kelly talking with the clip of we're not in the market of buying players?
Well, I think I made it pretty clear in a number of the press conferences that I had that we were in the market in recruiting in the transfer portal looking for defensive linemen. It hasn't fared very well, quite frankly, because, we're selling something a little bit differently, and that is we want to recruit, we want to engage, build relationships, we want to develop, retain, and have success. We're not in the market of buying players, and unfortunately, right now, that's what some guys are looking for. They want to be bought. And look, I understand NIL is part of this, and we have an incredible collective. We have very, very generous opportunities around the greater Baton Rouge area for NIL opportunities. So they are here, but we're not going to go out and buy players. That's not what this is about. This was never about that. We will develop you. We will get you ready for the next step, as we did with Jaden Daniels, as we did with Malik Neighbors, as we did with Brian Thomas. We developed 3 defensive linemen that all got drafted this year, and we'll do that again. But if you're just looking to get paid, you're looking in the wrong place. If you like all the things that we do here in developing our players, bringing you into a championship program, playing in front of the best fan base in America, playing for championships, and having an opportunity for NIL, you should be a Tiger. But if you just want to get, paid, this is not the place for you.
A lot going on with that comment. It's pretty long and at length. And here's the quote, the pull quote from it was, "We're not in the market of buying players." And if you listen to the duration of what he was saying, I actually agree with what Brian Kelly was saying. Mm-hmm. He had made a point. He didn't say he's not in the market of providing for his players or giving them opportunity to make money through NIL opportunities. His clear statement was that he's not in the market of buying players. Of course, everybody flamed him and kind of got into that.
Sure.
But I actually agree with the whole quote of what he was saying.
Well, no coach wants to be in the market of buying players. It's unfortunately what you have to do in today's world of college football. The unfortunate thing, players are in the market of wanting to be bought. So if you're trying to get talent on your defense and those guys hear you say, well, we're not going to pony up the money that some of these other schools might, guess what? Those guys are going to give you a look now.
Right. The issue I have with what he said was, in the duration, I agree with, in principle, what he said. I disagree with the idea that there's something morally wrong with wanting to get paid.
No, absolutely not.
I don't understand what the problem is. If somebody says, I want to be paid.
These guys are taking advantage of what the current nature of college football is, and we're on the doorstep of them becoming employees, possibly within the next year or so. So, again, you can't it's a hate the player, not the game.
Correct.
Or don't hate the player, hate the game.
Correct.
Type deal.
It's totally that situation, because this is and he said, unfortunately, and that's where it's a very transitional time. College football's growing up. I would say this is like the puberty of college football. Is very weird. Everybody doesn't know what's happening. But I agree with what he's saying in his statement, but I disagree with the idea that there's something morally or reprehensible about a player saying, I want to be paid.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then you have the coach from South Dakota stating that he was going to prohibit his freshmen from receiving NIL, which is illegal, one. But two, good luck finding a recruiting class. And his basis was the same sort of moral basis of, we want our guys to come here and earn it and work hard and things of that nature. And I understand what they're saying, but it doesn't fit with the current landscape of what we're talking about as far as college football is concerned.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things like the rules do not prohibit that from happening. So you're just saying, well, we're not going to allow you to do that. You actually can't actually do that.
You can't do that. Legally, you can't do it. And then the last part about the Brian Kelly statement is that I don't know how much he's been around college football, but secret time, it's kind of always been about buying players.
It has, and that's kind of the funny thing about NIL is all this stuff is now not under the table anymore. We're not having to hand out McDonald's bags, in Knoxville, Tennessee. There was a really good video series a couple years ago on SB Nation's YouTube channel about the bagman of Ole Miss.
One of my favorite.
And it's like, it really shows you the underbelly of what college football was before NIL became a thing. And again, now all that stuff's just surface level where, if I hand a player $20 or a free sandwich, then he's not getting suspended for 5 games now.
Right. So again, to recap, I think Brian Kelly's a very good coach. I actually agree with the duration of what he said. If you just look at the pull quote and when he says, we're not in the business of paying players, that is interesting, but it's not actually what he was saying. He was saying that we will provide them the opportunities to get NIL while also developing them. And then he went through a litany of lists of guys who's developed and he's done well. I can't say there's anything wrong with what Brian Kelly said. It's just that in our world of Twitter, you get clipped.
It does get clipped, and he's not saying that we're not going to use NIL. I mean, he's not kind of going the Dabo Swinney approach, like, well, we don't want guys that want to come here to make money, and we don't want to use the transfer portal. Like, that's fine, Dabo, but good luck on going 5-7 every year now.
Yeah, and also, make sure you tell those folks in Baton Rouge this moral principle stand that you're taking. I don't know how long that's going to last you with those folks down there.
Because I'm sure the fan base down there in Baton Rouge is really looking at the morality of college football as their first priority.
Our coach doesn't play players. We're 4-8, but we stand for something.
And you know what? That's a good conversation to have until you start playing games, and then you look around. It's like, why are we losing to Alabama?
Well, you brought up the last point, and we'll go to break after this. You brought up the point. They essentially wasted a Heisman Trophy's signature year because they could not stop anybody on defense last year.
Yep.
And so that's why this whole conversation has started. All right. Well, on the other side, there's a fun conversation going on Twitter that I need to squash, Tyler.
Okay.
And there's a basketball guy who's just talking reckless. And so we'll finish up the early game in the last segment. It's Preston Thor and Tyler Head, Jen Jensen.
Mind you, once again, as baseball season rolls along, huge series starting tonight against Georgia. Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union Grand Slam giveaway rolls on to another game. $1,200 up for grabs as we wait for Gamecock to hopefully hit a grand slam, maybe tonight, or at least over the course of these next couple of games. Go online to 1075thegame.com and register for your chance to win. And again, if a grand slam happens tonight or tomorrow or this weekend, the following day, whether it be tomorrow or Monday, whatever the next show is, here on the early game, Bill and Preston will announce the winner of the Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union Grand Slam giveaway. Fingers crossed and hoping it happens very soon, because hopefully one of you can get all that money. Again, go online to 1075thegame.com, register for your chance to win Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union Grand Slam giveaway.
All right, y'all, let's finish this. Let's finish this deal out. Preston Thorne, Tyler Head, Jen Jensen, early game. Let's wrap this up. We got one more giveaway for NASCAR. And Jen, I don't know what level this is going to be at, but I want to give Jen a chance to get ready for this last segment. Tyler's already 2 for 2. I'm 1 for 2 so far. I don't see myself getting this last one here, but we're gonna give it the go. So we're gonna go ahead and get ready to give this tickets away for trivia. Jen, are you ready?
Give me 1 second, please.
I can do that.
1 second, because I just dropped papers.
Well, while we're doing that, let's go out to Scott on the phone line. Hey, Scott, how you doing?
Hey, Preston. How's it going, man? You know, I think you're spot on Kelly, but I do got to. I think this is where people might be missing the boat with coaches like Saban and Kelly, and them saying, I don't think they mind the NIL. I don't think that they have a problem with it. Their issues with it is this. I'm a college football coach. I'm going to get you to the next level. But when I sit down to recruit you, don't look at me and say, how much money am I going to make in NIL, coach? Where are you going to put me to make my money? That ain't what they want to do. You have a crew. Go get your NIL money, make as much money as you can, and let me teach you how to play football at a college level and get you to the next step. Where these coaches are having an issue with this is where they're having to get involved and they're having to be a part of this. It's no different than the NFL. The head coaches ain't setting these salaries up for these guys. It's their agents and it's their management with the company or with the team. And I think that's where people are getting misconstrued on this. These coaches aren't having an issue with the NIL. They're having an issue with a player looking at them and saying, how much money am I going to make and how are you going to help me make it? That ain't why they're there. And if you really, I don't think people realize and understand how much a college football coach has on his plate and what all they're dealing with, from the responsibilities of performing to the NCAA standards, making sure these kids don't make mistakes, making sure they don't do things wrong, and then try to put a winning football team on the field and or basketball team or softball team or what have you. I can imagine how much this actually brings to the plate and to the table that's even bigger, and you're trying to eat a full meal. I think that might be where they're going, even though we're misconstruing it and thinking we don't want to pay players. It ain't got nothing to do with that. They just don't want to be involved in it.
I think you actually hit that pretty well right there.
Appreciate the call.
I go back to Nick Saban and the comments that he made about kids sitting down with him and Miss Terry and saying, well, how much or parents or whatever it was, well, how much is my kid going to make, as opposed to what kind of development or how you're going to take care of him and that kind of stuff. And Nick Saban, I think the last thing that he wanted to do was have to go and sit at these public appearances and basically beg his fan base for money. Like, that's not what he got in this business to do. And there's a lot of factors to why he decided to hang it up. It's not just the NIL stuff, but I imagine a lot of these coaches probably look around and say, why the hell am I doing this? Why am I sitting here begging people for $20 out of their purse? Because that's the way this is all structured. And unfortunately, that's the business that you have to do when I got other things that I could be worrying about.
Yeah, and to reiterate Scott's point, I think the best point you made was at the end. If you're talking about this as an NFL or a pro type sport, the manager, the coach doesn't make those decisions. It's the GM. And so they have that separation of church and state so that you don't have to get into these feelings of me having to place a money value. All I'm actually doing is coaching you and developing you. And that's a great point. Yeah, like I said, Brian Kelly clearly states that he's not against NIL. He's for NIL, obviously. Sure. But in the current setup, he's not for where we are right now. Great point. Jen, are you ready?
I am ready now. I've been trying to do just a few too many things this morning, so I apologize for the delay. This particular question, it's bottom line easy. Like it's okay. So yeah, I think no offense, Preston, but I think
even a caveman can get it.
I think so. Okay. So let's go. Tyler's gonna say, are you kidding me? Really? But, again, trying to make it fairly easy. At Darlington, obviously that's where the Goodyear 400 will be. Drivers hitting the wall at Darlington are considered to receive their what? Preston looks so deep in thought.
I'm actually, once we figure out who wins, I'm actually very interested to see what Preston's going to guess on this.
Exactly. So drivers who hit the wall at Darlington are considered to receive their what? So caller number one, or the first caller with the correct answer, 803-404-6100. gets a pair of tickets.
This is one where I might have needed a multiple choice. I might have had to rely on the multiple choice, the test bank. You know when you were taking tests and you was like, okay, I already used that one. This fill in the blank one, this is the only one left.
Did you ever do the thing where you're taking a test on like the Scantron and you don't know, but you look and you're like, man, I've had C the past 4 answers. There's no way there's 4 straight C's on here. So you like change 2 of them?
For sure. Now, again, as being a teacher on the other side of this thing for a long time, I used to sort of sometimes diabolically maybe do like 8 C's in a row just to try you out, just to let you know that I'm on you.
I always thought, like, if I ever became a teacher, I would give like a 20-question test where every answer is the exact same thing, just to see if anybody would be willing to put
after you've been in the classroom for so long, you're trying to figure out ways to entertain yourself. So you might put 8 C's in a row or something like that.
And just watch.
Or maybe actually do A, B, C, D or something like that.
Just watch the anxiety on everyone's faces. They're like, it's B. Every answer is B. No, this can't be right.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's definitely a way to entertain yourself. Jen, do we have a winner?
We do. Kevin Maddox won. And so, Preston, what are you thinking the answer is?
This is not right. I'm going to go with, I said caution.
Oh. Totally different direction.
It could result in one.
In a caution.
So you're not far off.
Okay.
Yeah.
The answer is?
The Darlington stripe. Because it takes paint off your car, get a little bit of the wall put on your car.
So the turns 3 and 4 are narrower than turns 1 and 2. So the wall kind of comes in on you a little bit more in turn 4, which is why a lot of guys get into that wall over the course of a race.
You know what? All this stuff is theory until I went to the track last year and actually walked on the track and had to walk up the
realize the banking.
Yeah. The banking of it and actually see it. And so I just grew such a greater appreciation for that. Just those concepts and the wall and how that works. So I do get that. All right. So you crash into the wall, not crash, but you bump up against the
slide.
wall. You get your Darlington stripe. All right, cool. Yep. I got that.
And remind me tomorrow, Preston, that in the morning, if we think of it, just past the press box where we're going to be, you can actually walk a little farther and you can see how it has been built up. So you'll actually see like the outside of the banking. And it just could be interesting. It may have to be after the show.
We need to get you out there to drive them around the track.
I would love
so they can actually see how fast it comes up on you when you're going through the turn.
Yep. That would be super fun.
I have had that experience one time at the Charlotte.
Oh,
speed
excellent!
Track.
That's
What's
right.
it called?
You went for the bowl game, right?
we used to do it. We did it for the Shrine Bowl back then, and it's impressive. You gain a new respect level for the racers.
Were
for sure.
any of your teammates not able to fit in the car? I have to ask.
You know what they did not do? We didn't actually get in the car.
Oh, okay.
So
you didn't go for the ride along.
Yeah, so I never actually.
You're
did
like in the van or something.
Now they do the ride along.
Yes, now they do. Now they do the ride along, which reminds me. I'll send it to you. There's a Rick Ross meme.
I've seen it.
With him leaning out of the car. That's how I feel. That's why I'm gonna feel like tomorrow when we go up to Darlington. Well, tomorrow we'll be up on location in Darlington, at Darlington. What's the proper way to say it? In, at, or on?
At Darlington.
All right,
there you go.
We'll see y'all tomorrow.
As Preston just said, we're going to be out at Darlington tomorrow morning for both the early game and the extra point. But as you're listening to us today, as we just gave away some tickets a few minutes ago, plenty more tickets to give away for Sunday's Goodyear 400 out at the Darlington Raceway. Be listening all morning and all day long for more opportunities to win. I'll be throwing some trivia questions your way over the next couple of hours. And again, got a lot of tickets to give away for the Darlington race coming up this Sunday. So keep it locked right here all day long. And if you need to, maybe skim through the Wikipedias or stuff like that to get up on your trivia to be able to answer some of these questions to win yourself some tickets. Next chance win going to come within the next hour on the Extra Point with myself here on your Thursday on the Game.
All right, I-26 still a mess coming in from Chapin this morning. Stop and go, if it goes at all. There's a wreck there just for the 97-mile marker. And in those two roads, Chapin Road, Dutch Fork Road, Broad River Road, of course, that's where all the traffic is going. Those are two-lane roads. Those are slow moving as well. And here's more good news for you. There is a wreck at Highway 76 and Rouch Metz Road. Okay, that's no help at all. Also, I-20 just before 378, from there to Bush River Road where the accident is. There's a wreck there, emergency vehicles on the scene. That's slowing down traffic as well. Then we have scattered outages for traffic lights all over the place, trees down in the roadway, some more wrecks at Green Lawn and Garner's Ferry. Also, Old Charleston at Fish Hatchery, Old Cherokee at Old Chapin, Reimer Pond near Cooper's Pond Road. Be careful out there. Your weather outlook for today, rain, off and on here and there, 60%.
Nine o'clock on your Thursday morning. Welcome in. It is the Extra Point. Tyler Head along with you here on The Game. Kind of a nasty morning here in Columbia. Hopefully, I think the rain has finally stopped. So if you're driving out there, be careful. Roads are definitely wet, but looks like it's